I'm here with Eastern University head women's volleyball coach Mark Birtwistle. Coach Birtwistle is a veteran coach here at Eastern. He is in, well, I'll let him tell you how many years he's been here, but it's been a while. And his team is off to a good start. So quick question, we're about a month in, including preseason. How has your team grown in that month?
Well, we're a young team, a lot of new additions, so we've had to kind of figure out what positions that people are going to play and what rotations we're going to do. I think that our team has improved chemistry-wise, our team dynamic is good, which is really super important with adding so many new people. But just skill-wise and trying to figure out where everyone's going to go.
Okay, so you talked about team dynamic. I know you brought Paulie back for a little bit of preseason stuff, but yeah. What are some of the things you have to do consistently to work on team dynamic?
Well, we talk about it a lot. We talk about our values, our cornerstones of love the game and love each other. I think those things are super important to who we are and what we're about. So we talk about it a lot. Having Paul back at the preseason was awesome. It's always great to have Paulie back, a great friend of mine for 25 years or so. And he's invested in Eastern volleyball, even from Colorado. So, yeah.
Okay. Next question, and this is just an observation I've made. It seems like volleyball is really a game of runs, right? And which is weird because in the game, after you score a point, you have to go like 30 feet away from the net and hit the ball. Mm-hmm. Right, so that seems to be as far away from the net as you can be on a point. Maybe the first question is, why do you think it is runs and in the game that make the difference? And then, is it harder to be a team that keeps people from getting runs, or a team that puts runs together?
Well, we want to be a team that keeps teams from making runs.
Okay.
That's really a goal. That's really a goal of ours. So we got to not allow a team to score multiple points in a row. So we work obviously very hard at siding out. So I think it's easier to score points because you can be aggressive with your serve and you can try to get people out of system strategically or just with pace or some things like that. So I think we definitely want to be a team that serves aggressive.
So in your observation, why do you think runs happen? Is it rotations? Is it psyche, mentality, a particular server?
I think you can create matchups. I think you can create some of those scenarios. I think it's just all about attitude because, it's a serve, one, that you're being aggressive with, and two, a defensive effort. And when you talk about defense and getting after it on defense, I think that's super important. That's how you create those opportunities.
Okay. And you talked about siding out just a second ago. The other night at Lebanon Valley, you guys were 10 for 10 in the fourth set, siding out. That's a pretty awesome feat to do that. And in that match, it seemed like 6 or 7 of those were even first swing side outs. What's the key on that? Is it just your passers doing perfect execution, or was there something that you said in the huddle going in the fourth set?
I think it has to do with execution, right? I mean, it has to do a lot with our passing, and this team will be as successful as our passing goes this year. So I think that's going to be true of this team. But no, the girls executed passing wise. I think we have a lot of very good offensive options. So, and Ellie's been fantastic this year at distributing the ball. So it was a combination of all that. I think we jumped on Lev Valley pretty quickly, we just kind of got the momentum really early and went our way.
So this weekend coming up, obviously 2 matches, Goucher and Rowan, but probably a little bit more of a weekend of importance because of what's going on kind of off the court. Last year was really special here with Dina being able to coach. First of all, how's she doing? And then secondly, just talk about what that means for you and your team to do the Dig Pink event.
Yeah, our relationship with Eastern and Rowan has been going on for years. Obviously, Dina is a super close friend of mine, and we've been doing a lot together with our teams over the years. And obviously, when this happened, we wanted to support her any way that we could. I think it means a lot to our girls because our girls know her really, really well. I think it means a lot to her team as well. And of course, Maggie, where we're going at Goucher's, now Goucher, she was Dina's assistant for several years. So we've just kind of, created this try match to really kind of, support Dina. But I think she's doing well. She's going through a lot of her, chemo treatments and radiation. And she's passed and she's through a lot of it. And she's on the other side and doing well. Yeah.
That's great to hear. Congratulations for your 2011 team is going into the Hall of Honor. So I'm gonna put you in the Wayback Machine a little bit and ask you for a couple specific memories. I'll do word association first. 24-17.
24-17.
Does that mean anything to you? Every time I see that score, I think of.
Okay, yeah, 24-17 at in Hiram, right? For the
no,
Hiram
it was
semifinal.
Juniata. It was Juniata in the final, 4-set.
That's right.
Hiram was another great.
Hiram was another great memory in a fifth set crazy match, but that was set 11-7 in the fifth set, right? And we came back. Yeah, 24-17 is obviously a great run that that team had to come back and beat Juniata.
Yeah. So, and obviously that team, the only Final Four team in Eastern history, is going into the Hall of Honor on October 7th. Is that the night?
Friday night.
It's a Friday night of homecoming weekend. We're super excited to see that happening.
This is Maria Horning, 26-all. Probably couldn't have it any other way. Fuller, dug by Kummerer. And Reinhold with a kill. And Eastern is now serving for the match. And Maria Horning says, calm down, folks. Nikki Kummerer, one of 5 seniors on the Eastern roster, has been fantastic here late, serving for several points and picking up unbelievable digs to close out. This Horning serves short, and Eastern wins! Eastern is going to St. Louis! An improbable comeback in the 4th set. Eastern trailed 24-18. Check that, 24-17, and came back to win 28-16. Eastern University women's volleyball advances to the national finals in St. Louis, Missouri. This will be their first trip ever to the national finals.
Any other memories from that group, or maybe just talk about? I mean, obviously, talent-wise, that team was special. 2 4-time All-Americans, but what made that team go that you think you want to remember?
Yeah, no, I think the biggest thing with that team is that they bought in, from day one when they were freshmen, and they went 31-1 their first year, during the regular season. I mean, they just bought into what we were talking about, and we talked about Juniata, and we talked about trying to get, to an Elite Eight, a Final Four, and a national championship. I mean, that was our goal. We talked about it quite frequently, and they bought in, and everything that we did was working towards that particular goal. And it did. It finally came when they were seniors. But, I mean, so many great memories, so many great trips. I mean, I think one of the things that I remember is that them only losing one match to an unranked team in their entire career. Yeah. So that's pretty special. Yeah. But so many great memories, so many great wins with that group,
That's awesome. Question off of volleyball a little bit. Your son Jackson is playing some lacrosse up at Syracuse.
Yeah.
Were you surprised when he became a lacrosse player? Like that was the sport he picked?
I saw how much he loved it. I saw the passion he had for it, but he was pretty talented in a number of other sports, including baseball, which turned out to be the, sport that's in the same season. So he went with lacrosse. I think it was a great choice. I think it fits his personality and his drive pretty spot on.
Okay, so now you grew up in a place at a time where there weren't as many sport options.
No.
What would have been your sport had you grown up in Radnor 2018?
I love the game of lacrosse. I mean, I think it's a pretty cool game. It's a physical game, but it's also a strategic game. So I don't know that I would have chose it, but certainly, basketball is always a sport that I enjoyed. But obviously I played soccer in college, but I think lacrosse would have been a pretty cool sport to try. Absolutely.
Yeah. No, it's what's your worst sport? Have you ever tried a sport that you've not been able to do?
I've been able to be fairly efficient.
I gotcha. No, it is interesting that you're coaching college volleyball after being a soccer player.
Yeah.
And that's probably a story for another day.
Yeah.
But I think as we look at this group of athletes you have this year, what do you think is the thing that's going to be the biggest challenge for you guys going through the year?
I think one of our biggest challenges is to understand that we have a lot of good players, and that we're going to have to figure out how to put this group together that they can continue to challenge each other and enjoy that challenge. That's part of our cornerstones in loving the game, and loving the game is about the challenge of how difficult playing volleyball is, but also how do you put pieces together and make that work. I think it's a great group of girls. I think they are really getting along, and the chemistry is great. I think the challenge is understanding that we have good players that aren't going to get to play all the time. So how do we manage that? How do we manage some of that conflict and try to continue to encourage each other to be the best players that we can, for each other.
Okay. Well, thanks so much for your time. Yeah. Good luck this weekend, and we look forward to having you guys back home.
Awesome. Thanks.
Back to your game.